Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to everybody who came here to have a shalom in Bet Shemesh. Good morning, good morning. And good morning to those who watch us on Torah Anytime or on YouTube. Thank you for joining our YouTube channel and for your interesting comments. So today, Kiddushin Samachel with Beis, we are dedicating this year for the success of the soldiers. May they be matzliach further and win the war very, very victoriously. May Hashem be with them, and our Torah is what does it. Now, the Shiur Nishmas of Menachem ben Akiva, Ruth Bas Shalom, Sol Bas Moshe, Aviva Bas Moshe, Leilu Nishmas, En Yaresha Bas L'chon Yitzchok, Lerefuas, Pnina Chai Bas Yola Rochel, Besoich Shachol Yisrael, Omar Abaye. 9 lines from the bottom of the page. Omar Abaye. We're talking here about Eid Echad. The topic, as we spoke about yesterday, the topic was Eid Echad. And it looks like Eid Echad, when it comes to Kiddushin, losing team. Lost case. Eid Echad in Kiddushin doesn't seem to just do it to us, not even mistofek. A woman who was miskadish by Eid Echad, even if both him and her admit that it was Kiddushin, the Kiddushin is not Kiddushin. Why? Because when it comes to Kiddushin, we learn Dovo, Kiddushin, Erva from Momoin, and two Eidim are just a requirement, a halachic requirement. It's not a technical way to know that Kiddushin took place. And then you can say, well, Kiddushin took place, and therefore Eid Echad, they believe him. It's better than Shavia Nafshe. We don't say that. You need to aid him because you need to aid him. Just like the Shove Pruta. It's part of the Maaseh Kiddushin. Later on, we're going to see today two toys with him. But Hashem, one of them will explain it very nicely. Amar Abaye. Another area in halacha, so far not about Kiddushin, where Eid Echad is somewhat valid. Let's see what it means. Amar Abaye. Amar Eid Echad, a person was approached by one person who witnessed him, who saw him, and he told him, the Eid Echad told him, Achalta chelev. You know, maybe you didn't notice, mister, but you ate chelev. I know that you ate chelev that you're not supposed to eat. Okay? The halach shoisek. The person, upon hearing from the witness that he ate chelev, he keeps quiet. So then we say ne'eman, he's believed. Let me explain the background, according to Rashi. Basically, when it comes to the korban chatos, a person who mistakenly broke an isur kores, such as eating chelev, what does he have to do? Bring a korban chatos. A korban chatos, they're interesting and very important line in the Torah, Ohoida elav chatosoi. A person can only bring korban if he himself realized it by himself, as opposed to, unbelievably so, as the Mishnah says in Krisus and the Rambam says, I saw it today, let's say two Eidim tell a person, you ate chelev, and that person says, no, I didn't. I know that I didn't. Usually that's a joke. If two Eidim said he broke Shabbos and he says you didn't, who cares? Of course, the two Eidim are right, not the person. Two Eidim say anything. You're married, you owe money. Two Eidim are above everything. When it comes to a korban, that's not the case. When two Eidim tell a person he did something, but he denies them because it's not called hoida elov. It's not considered as something that came from his knowledge, right? And his knowledge is the opposite. He says, I know that he did not break the Isser of Chelev, let's say, then he doesn't have to bring Korban Chatas, right? That is the way it goes. Now, let's read again. One aid told him you ate Chelev, V'ala shoisek. Now that person keeps quiet, Ne'eman. What does it mean, Ne'eman? He is believed to say that once a person heard from an Eid Echad a piece of information, and he kept quiet, we accept it as shtika koido, that he admits to the words of the aid, and therefore it's considered the hoido elov. It's considered that he said it himself because he's agreeing with the words of the aid, even if he didn't say yes, I did. He doesn't say yes, I realized. But if he keeps quiet upon listening to the aid, it's a form of shtika koido, right? And therefore now he has to bring a korban, which is a huge halachic nafkamina. That korban is committed to bring. It's not something of a maybe yes, no, maybe so. You can't do yes, no, maybe so by a korban, unless you bring an Osham Tolu, but that's not the case. If you bring the wrong korban to Beis HaMikdash, it's chudin lazor. You're not allowed to bring a korban and a maybe, except for one, but that's not the case here, And therefore, you bring a korban. The one aide told you something which you were not aware of, and he didn't say yes, yes, yes. You kept quiet. You keeping quiet is giving the aid the power to at least make it for you. Shtika koido, it's your admittance, and you are considered as chayv korban, and it's hoido of chatosai. And the Gemara proves that. We're going to develop it slowly, and surely more cases will understand the svara even deeper. Because right now it may not even sound as a chiddush to you. It's a big chiddush, as we're going to see soon. Continues the Gemara. And Vetana Tuna, we have a Mishnah to support what Abaye just said. Amaloid Echod, that's a Mishnah Krisus. Amaloid Echod Dechalto Chelev. One aide told a person, hey, mister, you went to that restaurant last night. I saw you eating there. You should know. What was in your plate? You thought it's Badat Seder Charedis? It was Chelev. Mamish Chelev Treif, Risol Chores. Vala Oimer Lo Chalti. And the accused says, no, I know that I didn't. Then he's potu. He's not chayiv to bring a korban. So now, what can we be medak from the Mishnah? Taima de Omar loy. You see that only because he said no and he clearly verbally denied what the aide said, then we say that what the aide said is irrelevant and it's not hoidol chatosoi. Ha ishtik meiman. Mashma that if he didn't say yes and he didn't say no, yeah, mashma that if he kept quiet in a parav way, he kept some kind of poker face, yeah, then he's believed, the aid is believed, and it looks as if he believed the aid to the point of what? Of shtika koido. There are really two things there, shtika koido and believing the aid. We're going to see later the difference. Right now, the idea is this is like shtika koido. This is as if he said yes. It's as if he said yes, I did. If a person said I ate chelav, he has to bring a korban. That's case number one. Case number two, and as we're going to, develop the sugya, you'll get a clear understanding. Case number two of Abaye. An aide told a person, listen, your taharos, let's say the food and drink you have in your house, some of them, which were tohor, your chaver, chaverim, like Haredi people, yeah, like shomer mitzvahs, they always made sure that the food is eaten be tahara, yeah, that the food is eaten how? No sheretz touches it, no mace touches it, all very good, yeah? So now a person tells his friend, your taharos, your food, which you usually keep be tahara, became tome. I know, I saw that it was touched by a dead mouse yesterday. The person who listens to it keeps quiet. Ne'eman, he's believed. He's believed to say what? He's believed to, yeah, Ne'eman. What does it mean he's believed? He believes the Eid Echad. And now that Eid Echad is believed for us because he got the assurance from the person. Get what I'm saying? In other words, one Eid does work if he got the okay from the person involved. And therefore now these tires are tome, and we relate to them as tome. And these things can cause other things tuma. The halachically they're tome, v'tana tuna. And there's a Mishnah to support that. It says, Eid echad omer nitmehu. Let's say one aid says about a person's food or drinks, whatever, nitmu, they became tome. Vala omer lo nitmu. The other person says, no, they're not nitma, they're not tome. Then potu, yeah, there is a war here between the aid and the accused, the person in question. And then his potter, I don't have to listen to one aid. And the Ritva here says, the Ritva is not having fun. Why? Who is the one who explained extensively yesterday about Eid Echad Enu B'Achosha? That was a Ritva. Eid Echad is, even when Eid Echad is valid, he's never valid if there's anybody talking against him. There's one aid, the big Gadol Ador. He's telling a woman, I know that you ate chelev, and she says, no, I didn't. A regular, not so knowledgeable woman would believe the woman. Why? Because one aid is never good enough if he is denied, if he is contradicted by someone else. The Ritva says the same thing over here. Okay, and we continue the proof. You see that because the person denied the Eid Echad, that's why the words of the Eid Echad out of the board, out of the game. We don't relate to them. Ha ishtik meiman. So you see, if the person kept quiet when it comes to Tyrus, yeah, he's believed. Very good. V'omar Abaye comes now third case. Omar loy Eid Echad. Eid Echad told who? A person. Shoycha nirba. I know something really ugly happened to your show. You have this ox, such a nice ox, what happened? So and so had bestiality relations with your shore. Yeah, it was Rovea your shore, and I know that, and I'm in Edechod, and I know what I'm talking about. By the way, you see in the Gemara in Krisus, you see in the Rambam, a woman also works over here. In other words, an edus of a woman is valid, especially according to Abaye. It's not so much about the edus; it's about the person accepting the edus. So the person is okaying whatever was said. That's good for both men and a woman. So a woman can say the same thing about you ate chelav, or she can say that your food is now tame, or now comes the third case, your shor was nirba, was lolenu, was taken advantage of by a person. What's the halacha regarding a shor nirba? Now, if you have two edim, if there are proper two edim that a man and an animal were together, what's the halacha? Who do you kill? Both, even the animal. Both, even the animal. You kill them both, also the animal. But why? Because we say a shor is sokal v'gam be'ol of yumas, kemisas abadim kach misas a shor. Just like you kill the person, you kill the shor. And some people say even with the basin of 23 people. So what do we say? That's when you have two edim. But when you have one aid, when you only have one aid, then we cannot kill the shor. Clearly not the person. So now, what does happen? The nafkamina is you're not allowed to bring the shor as a korban. You can't bring the shor as a korban in Beis Hamikdash. Yeah, and that's why, because the person believes one of the psulim, one of the disqualifications of a korban is if a korban head was part of a rovea nirba, was with a person, he can't be brought as a korban, even if you didn't kill him, and that's the case. To kill the shor, you can only kill with the edus of two people. Yeah, no such thing as one. But she'enken mitzad the bailim believing the aid, bailim believes the aid over here, and it's good enough to disqualify the shor from being sacrificed as the korban in Beis Hamikdash, and he's believed for that. V'tanatuna, 1 second, Shlomo. V'tanatuna, and we have a Mishnah to support that. Similar idea. It says in the Mishnah, yeah, it says over there. Where is this Mishnah? In Choyres Zvochim, yeah. It says v'shenev the boy avera v'shehemis al pi ed echad al pi abaylim ne'eman. It says a shor that had some avera, some forbidden act done to it, the bestiality, or he killed somebody. How? How do we know that? Al pi eid echad or al pi abaylim ne'eman. Either by the edus of one aid, or by the bailim. Yeah, or by the bailim. The bailim told us. The bailim told us either ed echad or the bailim. Correct, ne'eman. Then we believe the bailim. We believe the ed echad. We believe the ed echad. And what do we say? That shor cannot be brought as a korban to Beis Hamikdash. Yeah, we don't need two edim for that. Correct the Gemara. Wait a second. In order to prove Abaye from this statement, we continue. Al pi ed echad echidami. The al pi ed echad. What's the story of ed echad? How did the person react to the information given by the ed echad? Either kamoidim bailim. If the bailim admit and they told the ed echad, oh yes. Oh, you really? You're telling me that the shor was with a person? Oh, yes, yeah, true. I believe that. I believe you 100%. Good. Hainu al pi bailim. If the bailim mamish agreed to him, it's the same thing as al pi bailim. Get what I'm saying? Why did you say ed echad or bailim? If ed echad was verbally agreed by the bailim, and the bailim said, yes, we know, because we believe the ed echad, and they say it outright, that's al pi bailim. Who cares if the bailim saw it in their own eyes, or the bailim believe in ed echad? It's the same thing. El alav must be the shosik. Where that's Abaye. Now you're going to get the point of Abaye's Chiddush. We're not talking over here about a person who said to the Echad, oh, yes, I believe you. Ooh, you have such a big white beard and you're so reliable. I believe you. No, we're talking about an Eid Echad that said to the person, your shor was nearby. And how did the person react? Like that. Nothing. Poker face. That's a Chiddush. Even though the person didn't say anything, did not show positive agreement to the aid, we still say that it's considered as if the person is moide, and that shor really cannot be brought to Beis Hamikdash. So we have three cases. 1 second. We have three cases that more or less say the same idea. One aid that is silently agreed by the person in question is considered as we follow that la halacha, and that hoidah make us change the halacha with halachic nafkaminas. Yes, what's your question? Dog the Gemara. Yeah. Betzricha. Why did Abaye have to mention the same concept 3 times? Right? Abaye is telling us basically the same thing, yeah, in 3 different cases, in 3 variations on the theme. Why? Says the Gemara, tell you why. Diashmin and Hachkamaisa, had Abaye only told us about the first case. What's the first case? Somebody was told, you ate chelev. What's now? Oh, bring your korban to Beis Hamikdash. He has to bring a korban to Beis Hamikdash, a korban chatas. Had you only told me the kamaisa, the first case, then I would have said like this: Ilav the kimle benafshe the ovad chulin ba'azoro. If not for the person, yeah, no. Excuse me. Ilav the kimle benafshe. If not for the person really knowing that the aid is right, yeah. Lo the avid chulin ba'azoro lo ha le'avid chulin ba'azoro lo have. He wouldn't have brought the chulin ba'azoro. Let me explain. And this is now very, very important to understand the lomdus of Abaye. When you tell something to someone, before we continue, let me give you this psychological idea. When you tell something to someone and he goes like, okay, it's it depends a lot. What was the person telling you? Let me explain. If a person comes to you with very, very serious tone of voice, and it's the same case we had many times in the Gemara, and he comes and tells you in front of 2 ADM, and it's not me with my jokes, it's a person who comes and tells you, listen, you remember you owe me 10,000 shekels, and it's been already a long time, and pay it right now. Okay? And these are my 2 ADM. And he said, okay, that's serious business. Obviously, you agree, and it's going to take you to Beis Din. And the 2 ADM saw that. But let's say somebody tells you, you know, I just found out that your great-grandmother used to wear green shoes. And you say, okay, what kind of agreement is that? Who cares? Like, okay, maybe my grandmother wore green shoes. My great-grandmother could be, could not be true. And it doesn't really make a difference, so please pass the cheese. You know, in other words, okay. It doesn't mean that I mamish agree with that. And if there's any nafkamina from the green shoes, doesn't mean that I really go along with it. Oh, that's besides the point. Even if it's something you can't deny. Having said that, you'll now see the fine-tuned differences, nuances in Abaye's logic. Now let's continue. Let's restart from the tzricha. The Iyashmin and Achkamaisa. Had Abaye only told us the first case when there's a very serious nafkamina, what is the aid telling him? You ate chelev, and therefore what? Therefore merosha. Therefore you have to bring a korban, and the person keeps quiet, and we assume that he means to say yes, and he's going to bring a korban to Beis Hamikdash. I want to ask you guys, to bring a korban to Beis Hamikdash, is this something of like, yes, no, baby, so who cares? No. If the guy is wrong, then you bring in chulin to the Beis Hamikdash, which according to most opinions, this is the oraisa. Ilav the kimle benafshe the ovad. If not for the person really knowing kimle by himself, the ovad that he did, that he broke the sin, that he broke the law, and he ate chelev, chulin ba'azor lo havimaisi. He wouldn't have brought chulin ba'azor. In other words, when a person shows his consent even silently on something that is so significant and so halachically strong, then clearly we know that he means yes. Otherwise, he would have denied it. Aval nitmutar oisecho. Oh, but in the second case, what did the guy tell him? Your tires are tome. No, is that a sin that some of my tires are tome? There's a solution. Meimar amrinan. I would have said, "Hi, the shosik." You know why the person kept quiet? The listener, the sava. He says, "Chazal b'meitu masoi." I'm allowed to eat it when I'm tome. Not only women, also men in the times when we used to keep tumah v'tara. If a man, let's say, came in contact with a dead person, with a sheret, shichvazera, tashmish, all that, with tzoira, all these things, you can be the biggest tzaddik in the world, you always have periods in your life when you're tome. So the person says, you know, I kept quiet. He's not keeping quiet because, oh, yes. He's keeping quiet because it's a maybe. Maybe the guy is right. I'll play it safe. And will only eat it when I'm anyway tome. When I'm tome, of course I'm allowed to eat the tome food. I don't care. But it doesn't mean full agreement. And therefore, other people who are not him, they will be able to eat the tome food even if they're tahor. That's a Abaye's fine difference, right? The chiddush is that even with less of an nafkamina, it's not as detrimental as bringing a korban. It's a yes, no, maybe so. We say no. When a person keeps quiet, it's as if he said yes, and it's more than shavya nafshe. It's mashpi on others as well. It's as if he accepted the edus of the aid. It's like shtika koidah combined with I am moided to what the aid said, and the edus is good. And now other people who are not me, who are not the listener, the owner of the food, they too cannot eat from the food. In other words, we really relate to that. It's as if he made that into real edus by his silent agreement. Even in things that are less significant, we don't say his yes was a maybe get off my back. We say it's real agreement. And that real agreement means that it's mamish also for everybody. Continues the Gemara. What about the third case of the show of the bull? Same idea, same logic. Vishmin and ho, if you only told me about the second case, when the person is saying, not saying anything, is silently agreeing to what? He's silently agreeing to tyrus. Okay, my Torah food is tome. There is an important nafkamina because most of his life this person is toho, and he's now the aid is causing him a loss by saying that the food is tome. So as long as I'm Torah, I can't eat it. Therefore, my consent is not like the green shoes of my great grandmother. It does make a difference, not a huge difference, but it makes some difference. As opposed to what? Aval shoyo nirba. But when it comes to a person, an aide who tells an owner of a show, your show was nirba. What's an afkamina? Who cares about the shore's private life? Yeah. Meimar Omar, he would say to himself, what's an afkamina? That I can't bring the shore to Beis Hamikdash. No. Not every ox in the world is good for Mizbeach. What's the big chiddush over here? You're telling me that what my show, I may have 10 shvorim, I may have one show and many sheep and a tractor, whatever. You're telling me this show cannot be brought to the Mizbeach. So maybe that consent was, okay, whatever you say. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it's really usher to bring the show to the Mizbeach. He's playing it safe. That's why he's not denying, okay, maybe, I don't know, say that. Who cares? Okay, my show's not going to go to the Mizbeach. What's the big news you're telling me here? Kamash malan tzricha. Kamash malan, no. Kamash malan, no. Whenever a person listens to an Eid Echad, and the Eid Echad gives him any piece of halachic information, even with a minor nafkamina, such as Beis Hamikdash, we always say, as Rashi says, shtikot hoidoi. The shtik is like hoido, and it's hoido to the Eid, and it's not Eid, it's not shavya nafshe. Why not? Because we even answer it for other people. And we say it's also to Beis Hamikdash. It's nothing to do with him, Shavya Nafshe. Because once he gives a silent consent to an Eid Echad, that Eid Echad is believed. Wow. Yeah. That's a classical question which bothered me also. Nancy's, I don't know. Yeah, I hear. Yeah. Yes, silence applies assent. Yeah, that's English for shtika kehoido. 1 second. So up until now, if you noticed, nobody argued with Abaye. Everyone agrees with Abaye. Rove and everybody else, they all agree with Abaye. They all agree to Abaye that when you have one aid, and that aidus of the one aid was met by silence, then we believe the aid and we go along with it, even for other people, as if it's aidus. Ibailu. Oh, now let's not forget, we are Maseches Kiddushin. Would the same apply to a woman being Lolenu unfaithful to her hubby? Ibailu. And you're going to see the Tosfos. Ishtoi zinta beid echad v'shoisek mau. And that's a huge question in Shulchan Aruch. Unfortunately, these things happen. A person is approached by one aid, or could be even a woman, and that one man tells him, I feel bad telling you, but I work in the office with your wife, and I know for sure I saw, Charles, how much they have to see. I saw your wife, being overly friendly, mamish, mezane, with her co-worker, another person, another Jew, yeah? And he kept quiet. Oh, mahu, what would be the halacha? Omar Abaye Ne'eman. Abaye said he's believed, which means Abaye sticks to his guns. Abaye says, just like regarding other areas in halacha, we see the one aid, that's a formula. One aid plus closed mouth, silence by the side of the recipient means yes. Same thing over here. Rove Omar Eino Ne'eman. Rove says no. Rove says, listen, Abaye, I agreed with you up until now, but that's where I divert from you. That's where I digress. This is a concept which we see many times in Gittin, and we saw it already alluded to before. When it comes to dover shebe'erva, things to do with marriage, divorce, things to do with intimacy, marriage, divorce, you always need two people. So it's all very nice. Up until now, we spoke about oxen, and you spoke about Tyrus, and you spoke about this, all very nice. When it comes to erva, meaning to say that that woman is mezaneh and you have to divorce her, then no, I don't. Then he's not believed, because for that you need to aid him. Just like with the chassan, you need to aid him in order to divorce, to force her to divorce, to force them to divorce. You need two people. Now, no. Toises has questions about Abba and Rove. That is the. Let's see the first Toises Omar Bahihi. The first half of Toises Omar Bahihi. Yeah, beautiful. And what did I tell you all the time? The whole Masechta. What do I always tell you? The two Eidim are part of my Kiddushin. Yeah, the two Eidim are not a technical business on the side. Just like you need the chosan, you need the kala, you need the ring, you need a rabbi, right? You need 10 people for the ksuba. You need two Eidim. You need the fancy band. You need the fancy photographer. Machloikis. But yes, some things you have to have at the Kiddushin, and one of them is Eidim. Look at Tosis now. Omar Bahihi. Tema. Tosis is wondering about Abaye. Excuse me, Abaye? I know that you're Abaye, you're pro Eidechod. You Abaye, in the previous sugya, which we learned yesterday, you also agreed to everybody, when it comes to Kiddushin, you need two people, you need to aid him. So the same thing over here, when it comes to divorce, why don't you require to aid him? Right? It's okay for other areas in halacha, but Dovel Shabel V'Pachos Mishnayim. The Shloimar, listen to the words of Tosfos. The Hosam Efshar Kevin Dol Kitcha Bifnei Eidim, Amois Matono. When he was Mekadesh her, not in front of two Eidim, the money is like Matono, is like a gift. There is no Maisa Kiddushin. Because there you need to Eidim. Aval Hocho Habia Oiseres Ben Beidim En Shelo Beidim. Then anu tzrichin le sheyeda ba'al emes. Beautiful. Says Tosfos, no. Over here, according to the real truth, if a man is Mekadesh a woman without Eidim, it's as if he gave her a gift. It's not Kiddushin, right? And therefore, over there, you need Eidim, you need to Eidim. Mashe'enken, when a woman has relations with her friend, yeah, is she also to her husband according to the truth? HaKadosh Baruch Hu watches them mishamayim. Is she also? Yes. There, the aid is just technical. We just need the aid to inform the husband so the husband should know what to do. And really, the bia does not require Eidim. Very good. And therefore, all we need to know, the Baal should know the truth. If the Baal heard one aid and he agrees to it silently, that's called the Baal knowing the truth. Very good. Yes, very nice. Mashenk and the Kiddushin, you need to aid him. It's part of the ceremony. It's not about technicality, it's about halacha. Yes. Yes. Very good. Because there is special, because it's because of Dover, Shabbat, Pachot, Mishnah. Next Tosfos. What did Rava say? Rava says, no, stop right there. Rava says, stop the party. No. When you have an issue of either Kiddushin or Gerushin, Rava says, you always need to aid him. Yeah, Eid Echad is very good for other areas. Here you need to aid him. Frek Tosfos Vim Toimar, Tosfos asking a question. Kevin the Shoisek, V'shtike Kedodamya, Lama lo te'oser olav. If he keeps quiet upon listening to one aid who says, your wife was mezaneh, and he's, sounds like he's agreeing, then anyhow she should be osir. You know why? Not because of the aid. What did I brainwash you for the past few days? If I out of the blue say in the middle of this, you can see I'm very traumatized with that event, yeah? If I'm in that Bnei Brak Chasana in front of a nice piece of chicken, and the guy says, let's say I would say, this is not kosher, it's not kosher for me, right? So who cares if an aid is saying it? You're right that you need two aidim and not one if I deny them. But if I agree to the aid, even silently, it's as if I said my wife was mezaneh, right? And therefore, mitzad shavi anafshi should be osir. Get the lamdas, it's unbelievable. Although you need to aid him, that's against questions of people saying, no, it wasn't Mizane. Or the Baal says, no, my wife would never do such a thing, you liar. Oh, then I agree. Then you need to aid him. But if the husband agrees, who can? It's not worse than if he himself came out of the blue and said, my wife was Mizane. It shall be an afshay, right? Let's see the answer if you don't mind. Answers, now we're going to see, mamash, very fine points here, the differences between Rov and Abaye. Veshloima. Because Rove, the time of the Shoisik Mem, this is very important now to get the whole Shiur right from the beginning. This is a whole new understanding of everything we've been learning. It's not hard, it's just new understanding. Veshloima. The Kasava Rove, Rove agreed with Abaye, but in a different way. The time of the Shoisik Meheman, you know the person who keeps quiet while the Ed is telling him information, you know he's believed? No, it's not because he's agreeing, says Rove. It's not because it's as if he's saying yes, 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 and I'm shtike kodo. It's as if I said with my own mouth that my wife is mezane. Ela mishum the ikar raglaim ladovo mehem nilei, which means raglaim ladovo means it's likely, but we're not sure. When a person listens to an aid, one aid was a kosher person, even a woman, but is a kosher person, and the person told him it's treif, your bull was abused, your wife is this unloyal. Oh, then that person says, maybe you're right. I believe you as an aid. And not that I am saying it, I'm giving now gushpank and power to what the aid is saying. Because the Isser is not because the husband is saying, it's because of the aid is saying. It's as if the person listening is coloring in, is intensifying what the aid said. Let me explain. Abaye learned that the reason why one aid is talking to me and telling me information about myself, and I'm like silently agreeing. There are two ways to understand it. Yeah, you can say the reason why I would go along with that, yeah, even in Kiddushin, according to Abaye, is because why? Because I am really saying, it's as if I said, this is my show, this is my thing, this is it, this is all, very good. Masha'enke and Rove says no. Actually, I'm not even sure it's true about Abaye, because we see there's enough kamina for other people as well. So it's stronger, it's like Eidus. No, actually, I think I would agree to that as well. No. There is one way of understanding, which I think neither by nor Rove would say, that when I listen to him, it's as if I said, I ate chelev, my shore was nearby, v'chule. That's one way, but that's not the real way. Says no. When I listen to the aid and I'm saying, I'm concerned that what the aid says may be true, it's as if this aid is like two aidim, not completely, not to kill the show, but it's a very strong aidus, strong enough, and it's not shavia nafshe. Shavia nafshe means when I'm saying something, I woke up in the morning and I said my wife was mezaneh. The thing is treif. That mikvah is possible. I don't know whatever that is. Yeah, the food is. That's shabia nafshe. But if I'm saying yes to an aid, it's not shabia nafshe. It didn't come from me. It came from the aid. And the aid is believed because I am going along with him. That's why. And Mimele, there's no shabia nafshe. One aid, It's very nice to give one aid extra power, extra energy when it comes to Tuma, to Tyra, not to Kiddushin, says Rove. Adkan. Comes to Kiddushin, no. We need to aid him both the way in and both the way out. And only if two aidim told him that the woman is mezaneh, only then he has to divorce her. That is so far. It's going to change soon, but this is what Rav holds right now. Okay?
Two aidim for Kiddushin, two aidim for divorce. One aid is.
No. According to Rav, I'm recording. According to Rav, no. When one aide came to a person and said your wife was mezaneh, right, and he kept quiet, he does not have to divorce her, according to Rav. Why? Because he acquired two aidim both for marriage and for the cause of divorce, which is her being disloyal. That's Rav learns Davar Shaberva across the board through the entire time. Amar Abaye, Mina Aminallah. We're going to see more now. It's going to develop. Amar Abaye, Mina Aminallah. How do I know that what I'm saying is truth? What did Abaye say? If one aide came and the aide said to a person, sorry, your wife is mezaneh, says Abaye, bad news. If he kept quiet, that shows acceptance of the eidus, and we don't say Davar Shaber v'pochet mishnayim, and you have to divorce her. How do I know? Listen to the very sad story. Very sad story. Let's start crying. Dahu Samya, Dahava Misader Masnai Sekamedem Shmuel. there was a blind man, lo aleinu, and he was the Talmid Chacham, he was Mesader the Mishnah. Yeah, he was a person who would like give over the Mishnayos in front of Mal Shmuel, in the presence of the Rosh Hashiva Mal Shmuel. Yom Echad Nogale, one day he was late. He was late to Shiur. V'lo avakosi, and he didn't come, and the Zoom didn't work. Yeah, he didn't come to Shiur. Shadal Shlicha Abasrei, Shmuel sent a messenger after him to see what's going on. Send a messenger to his house to see why isn't he coming. Ad Ozil, yeah, by the time the Shliach left, the Shliach left in one way, and the person himself, the blind man, arrived. Get it? In other words, the blind man arrived before the Shliach arrived. The Shliach was on his way to the blind man's house. Blind man, meanwhile, from a different direction, came to Beis Medrash. But here comes the sad part, tissues. He also Shliach, Omar, the Shliach, eventually the Shliach came. Yeah, the Shliach came eventually, and they all met together. And he said, Ishtoi zinta, oy, 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 oy. The wife, what did she think? She thought her husband went to Beis Medrash, and he did. Yeah, and she thought she will not be disturbed. So she called in her friend, and her friend was mezane with her. And who knows that? The Shliach. The Shliach came unexpected. He surprised them. So the Shliach saw that she was mezane on her husband. Lo aleinu. Can you imagine the Talmud of Shmuel? Who said she was mezane? Hey, wait a second. One person. The Shliach, no two edim. Also like Edim el Shmuel. The poor blind man came to Shmuel. What do I do now? A man is telling me something so terrible about my wife. Am I mechuyev to believe him and divorce her? Because we all know once she's mezane, can't stay married to her. Omar lei. So Shmuel told him as follows: if you believe him, if he's credible for you. In English, there are really two ways to understand Shmuel. So I'm being careful. If this person has credibility in your eyes, zil apka, then you have to really, I'm sorry, you'll have to say goodbye to her. If you believe him, if he's credible to you, you have to let her out. Loy tapi. But if you don't believe him, slash, if he's not credible, then you can stay with her. Don't divorce her. What does it mean? What exactly did Shmuel say? Now this is Abaye talking. Remind me, what did Abaye say? That if one person hears that his wife is mezane and he's like keeping shtum and quiet, then he does have to divorce her. He does. Dr. Abaye, my love, what did Shmuel mean? If he's believed to you, meaning as long as you believe him that he's not a gazlan, what does the gazlan have to do with anything? Kosher aid. As long as he as a person is believed to you, you know that he's a trustworthy person, meaning we know that gazlanim are apostle, leidus, sachek bekubia, gamblers, all these people, malve beribis, all these people with funny money and other averos, yeah, they are apostle leidus. So says Abaye, that's exactly what I told you all along. Look, this is Shmuel supporting me. Because what did he say? If you believe him that he's a regular Eid Echad, that he's a good guy, he fits the criteria of Eid Echad, even a woman, Balamaisa is a credible person, then what? Then, if you kept quiet, and you didn't say otherwise, you didn't shout and scream, no, but what didn't do that? Oh, you're lying. Then you have to kick her out. So that's exactly what the Abai said. Rove, oh, here comes a big bomb over here. Now we're stepping into a minefield now. The Rove argued with Abaye. How would Rove interpret the story? The story seems to be going well with Abaye, right? The blind man heard information. He believes that's a good aid, and he goes like, not denying, and he has to divorce. No, that's exactly like Abaye. How would Rove defend his case? The Rove says, no. What Shmuel meant was, Shmuel meant, im heman lach kebei trei zil apka, viloi loi tapka. Oh, here comes the whole new business called like this. If he is believed to you as if he was two people, then you have to let her out, then you have to divorce her, otherwise no. Which means, although, this is big news, although Rava was a big advocate for two and only two, right? Kiddushin, znus, every time you have to have two edim. Here comes a new concept of what? If the person is believed to you, he is so credible for you, that's why I use the word, you believe him or he is credible. If you give him the credibility of two people, and you view him as two people, then you have to let her out. Otherwise, no. I'm happy to see Ellen's face, and my face was the same when I saw it first time in yeshiva a few months ago. What do you mean if I believe him like two? You know, the Chas v'Shalom, Reform Judaism. I think Yom Kippur is Yom Ha'atzmaut. What do you mean I believe? Rava is the one who keeps saying all the time that what? That you have to Eidim. And all of a sudden, what? If I believe him as if it was to Eidim, then life is. Okay, so to calm down, everybody, I saw the Tesas Yazoken, the Rosh, and the Rif. And they all say, Rava is talking Lotzes Yidei Shamayim, which means if the person, told you that really she was mezane, right? Says over Stamezo, you don't have to believe him. But because it's likely, if this person, I saw one of the notes in Shulchan Aruch today, if the person is credible for you in everything, not just now, because the husband decides to be angry with his wife. If you always believe him with utmost trust, you give him super high level of trust, like Avraham Avinu and Eliezer kind of thing. That's my example. Then you're in a conflict over here. It's only 1/8, right? And the woman, by the way, in this story, it's also important what the woman says. The blind man probably came home and he had what to say to his wife. If the woman denies the Eidechod, normally Eidechod denied by a woman, we don't listen to him. But if he's so credible for you and you'd give him $1 million and trust him $1 million, don't you think that at least B'dinei Shomayim you have to divorce her? Because you're in a conflict. It's at least as bad as if maybe maybe you can't stay with a woman who maybe was mizani with you. It's a sofek d'oraisa, and therefore at least B'dinei Shomayim, does she receive a ksuba? Another interesting question. So the Gemara says, the Shulchan Aruch says, depends. If I decided to believe the Ed B'dinei Shomayim, I can't feel comfortable. Rava says you should not feel comfortable to stay with her because you have a super duper aid. And it's true. Normally, we don't care about super duper aidim. But here, to be on the safe side, don't stay with her. But on her side, she says, I'm a kosher woman. This aid he's a pervert. He's making stories about me. So now she receives her ksuba. A woman who's known to be unloyal to her husband doesn't receive a ksuba. She says, I'm loyal. You're divorcing me because of the shtuyot you heard from him. So you divorce her because of znus, but she deserves ksuba. Because mitzidcho, you believe the aid. Mitzida of her, she doesn't, so she's a ksuba. If the woman admitted to be mizane, so stam as the woman admitted to be mizane, we don't always listen to her because maybe the Gemara says, maybe she's playing games, she wants to marry another guy, so she fakes it as if she was unloyal. But here, when you have one aid who's good as two, plus a woman who admits that she did it, you divorce her and you don't give her. Okay, we're a little bit tangential, but that's the business. I was very happy to see the Rishonim, Rosh, Rif, they all say, the Rambam doesn't say it, but they say the Rambam really means it. It's only Dinei Shamayim. But B'dinei Odom Ein Chinami. Rava would agree. If you just want to be by the letter of the law, B'din Bezdin, Bezdin won't force her out of your hands. Because Lamaisa, 1/8 is 1/8, even if he's a super 8. Okay. Here comes a very, very, very interesting story, very juicy story with the Ritva's explanation, who saved the day as always in the Maal Show. Another source for Abaye who said what? If one aid came to the person and the person kept quiet, nothing to do to aid him, one aid plus keeping quiet, then the woman is considered to be a Zoino apostle. Titania says the following brisa. Maise Yannai HaMelech. Yannai HaMelech was a descendant of the Chashmonoim. The Chashmonoim, we all like the Hanukkah story, and it's all very nice, beautiful story, and it's true, and it was a big miracle, but nobody talks so much about what happened later, because the second and third generation of those very heroic tzaddikim were not so good. They were kings who they overstayed their welcome. They're not supposed to be kings, right? Because they're not from Shevet Yehuda. They're Levim, and they stayed on the throne for too long. And one of these people was Yannai HaMelech. Yannai HaMelech was the very biggest kind of person, as we're going to see, how his approach to Torah and Chachamim was interesting. And what did this Yannai HaMelech do? Some say unbelievable. This Yannai HaMelech was Yochanan Kohen Gadol. Yochanan Gadol was 80 years the Kohen Gadol, and then he went off the derech. Yeah, the Gemara in Brochas Chavtes, yeah, in the Mishnah in Ovis. So some say this was the same person, and his wife was Shlomtzion Amalka. She was a tzaddikus. Shlomtzion Amalka was very Haredi. She was a very frum person. She was a sister of Shimon ben Shattach. So Yannai Melech was married to Shlomtzion. Brother-in-law was Shimon ben Shattach. Yannai Melech was obviously not 100% okay because he stayed on the throne for too long. He should have given it over to who? People from Yehuda, and he didn't. And also at the same time, by the way, he served also as a Kohen, and as we're going to see, he even served as Kohen Gadol, right? He was both king and Kohen Gadol at the same time. Wow. He's taking many positions, many crowns on the same head. How do I know that my opinion is right? Titania. Yannai Melech went once with his army to the desert, to an area called Kuchlis. Maybe that's near Rafa. I don't know. The Kibesh Sham Shishim Krochim. And he conquered, he took over, he seized 60 cities from the enemy. So he was very happy. He was very victorious. Because also, when he came back, he was overjoyed. He was very happy. Originally, he had good relationship with the Chacham Yisrael. He called all of the Chachamim, all the Gdolim, the sages, he called them all to a big party. Amar lehem, and he told them as follows: Our forefathers, when they came to build Beis Hamikdash, and we're talking here about the second Beis Hamikdash, according to Rashi, they were very poor. And when they were busy building Beis Hamikdash, all they could afford was vegetables called meluchim. Maybe it's sour vegetable, salty vegetables. It gets us a very simple vegetable. And Yannai Melech wanted to do something actually very nice. And he said, look, let's remember the bad old times. When they were building Beis Hamikdash, what were they doing? They had to do with very little. Afanu, us, now we're rich. Look, I conquered 60 cities. Noichel meluchim zechel avosenu. Let's now, although we're rich, let's remember the bad old days to thank Hashem. Yeah, my daughter told me yesterday, this is like tomorrow. We're now free people. Let's remember the bitter herbs in Mitzrayim. What did they do? Vehelu meluchim al shulchanos shel zohov, and they put those very simple salty vegetables on a golden table. That's very sticky. On one hand, we have a table of gold. We're rich, but we still remember to thank Hashem, right? That we're out of that bad state we used to be. There's a very famous story. I read it, I think, like 5 times in the Shabbos pamphlets about a guy who was very, very rich, and every once in a while he would close himself in a room. What did he do in the room? He would wear the very schmatte clothes when he was a homeless guy. Homeless, yeah, from rags to riches. So he wore the rags every once in a while to remember how he was to thank Hashem. Up until now, all very nice. Okay, and they ate. And then comes bad news. There was one person there. Ish letz. What's a letz? A person makes fun of Torah, mitzvahs, chachomim. A person like the people on television. Yeah, levra. Yeah, he was bad-hearted person. Blial, a person who had no yiras shamayim. He was a very, very bad guy. Elazar ben Puera shmo. His name was Elazar ben Puera. Yeah, he was from Meretz. Elazar ben Puera Yannai Melech. Elazar ben Puera told King Yannai, Yannai Melech, libam shel purushim alecha. How do you call them in English? The Pharisees? Pharisees. The Purushim, which is basically like the Orthodox people today, yeah, they don't really like you. They have something in their heart against you. Yeah, I know that they're eating with you and they're smiling to you. All these frum people are just hypocrites. They don't really like you. Says Yannai Melech, Uma ese, how can I let the cat out of the bag? What shall I do to reveal their true colors? How can I provoke them to show that they really hate me, all these religious rabbis? Says Elazar ben Puera, here comes a big story. Make them stand by wearing the tzitz between your eyes, which means I want you to now take the tzitz and wear the tzitz of the Kohen Gadol, and that would provoke them. That would really get them, out of the comfort zone. Yeah, and they'll have to stand up from the tzitz. But now you'll see how that will, that's going to be a catalyst, and they're going to start with all this frumkeit against you. I'll explain more soon. And really, that's what he did. He took the tzitz from Beis Hamikdash, maybe from his pocket, I don't know where it was. Yeah, he took the tzitz and he wore it in the party. outside Beis Hamikdash, outside working hours. Yeah, and really that made them stand, but also made them really upset. Now, let me explain something. There's a big machlokes rishonim here. Both Rashi and Tosfos, for different reasons, say that where the tzitz outside Beis Hamikdash and outside the working time, the service hours of Beis Hamikdash is okay. Although a Kohen is not allowed to wear the big dekehuna outside Beis Hamikdash, outside, right? Remember, we learned at the end of Perek Sheni, you have to take off the big dekehuna ASAP, not to enjoy and benefit from Meila. It's Meila. And the Ritva says he can't wear anything. The Gemara says in Yuma Samechtes, you're not allowed to wear big dekuna outside Beis Hamikdash, staff only. So how come he wore the tzitz? And we don't assume Yannai was a Rosh right at the beginning. So according to Rashi and Tosfos, according to Tosfos, he was allowed. You know why? Because it says about the tzitz, Tamid. Gemara in Shabbos Yud Beis, it says the tzitz supposed to be on the metzach, on the forehead of the Kohen Gadol all the time, and you can interpret it as all the time. So even when he's outside Beis Hamikdash and he wears his regular clothes, his frack and Hamburg, whatever he's wearing, the crown, he should also, or he can, or even should, wear the tzitz. That's what they say. The Ritva argues, and the Ritva says no, that was a provocation. Ritva says he went against halacha, dafka, to show them how far he goes with being a kohen. Now you're going to see everything. We're going to tie the loose ends very soon. Right now, to one level or another, he's provoking Chacham Yisrael by sitting in the party, eating those Yerokos Meluchim, and wearing the tzitz in front of them, not necessarily in the right context. And then what happened next? There was one Zoken, a good one of the good men, one of the elderly, the Yehuda ben Gdidia Shmoy. His name was Yehuda ben Gdidia. The Yomi Yehuda ben Gdidia Yannai Melech. I'm so sorry to be so direct, but Rav lecho keser malchus. It's enough for you that you have the crown of royalty. Hanach keser kehuna lazal shel Aaron, which means, yeah, it's enough that you wear the keser of a king. Yeah, that's enough for us. We're going to explain. But you also want to wear the crown of kehuna. The Maharsha says crown of kehuna is a tzitz. It's a physical crown. Leave that for Zar shel Aaron. Surprisingly, he's not complaining about him being a melech. That's what I would have said. He's complaining about him being a king. Says the Ritva, listen, the fact that you're a melech, we're not so crazy about that either. Ravlach means that's bad enough, but because it's only so the Rabbanon, the Ritva says, for a non-Judaic one to be on the throne, that's melech. But for you to be a Kohen, that's an Issa D'Oraisa. I said an Issa D'Oraisa. He's a Kohen. Why is this D'Oraisa? Continues the Gemara, the Brisa, and here comes the main point. Shayu Oimrim. There was a strong. We're going to see what's Shayu Oimrim. They said Imoy Nishbes B'Modim. That's actually the main part of Abaye. They said, soon we're going to see who's they. But it was known that his mother was captured in Modin. That's where the Chashmonaim were. The mother of Yannai was captured by Greek people, the Rishonim say. And we all know that, unfortunately, when girls get into captivity, we know what happens. And that's what the Halacha recognizes. Wait a second. Hey, wait. That was before she was married. She was a girl. A girl who had relations with a man, a goy, even before marriage, cannot marry a Kohen. So if she marries a Kohen who's the father of Yannai, what's the status of Yannai? It begins with a ches, cholol. So you, Mr. Yannai, King Yannai, you're cholol. That's an Issa D'Oraisa. It's bad enough you're looking to be a king, fair, mela, whatever, I'm not going to fight with you. But because we have rumors that you're cholol, right? Then what? And you're becoming a Kohen now, no, a Kohen who's serving with a tzitz, that we cannot take anymore. However, the Yivuka Shadover V'lo Nimtza. Although the Gemara does say, and it's very, very important to know, when they really looked into the case of what's her name, Yannai is the Melech's mother, they really did not find it to be true that she was ever with a goy, she was captured. Let me explain. So the Ritva says as follows. The Ritva saves the day here. Everything I'm telling you, if it's clear enough, is because of the Ritva. The Ritva says like this. Up until now, Yannai's status was actually okay. Why? There was a reason to think that she was nishbes and therefore is a cholol. She had relations with a goy, even if it's rape, still osir, be to marry a melech. But afterwards, good news came. No, lo nimtza. they didn't find out to be true that she was with a goy. If so, Yannai is kosher. Says Yehuda ben Gdidia, up until now you behave like a mensch mele. But now you're taking the tzitz outside Beis Hamikdash, outside working hours, you're misbehaving so terribly, now I assume that you're really a cholol. Because there's a maybe a reglaim ladover, yes cholol, no cholol, now that you behave that way, now you're showing that if you were a real Kohen with sensitivity to Kehuna, you wouldn't have done such a thing. You're not the real deal. Yeah, a real, right? A real Kohen doesn't do that. And that is exactly what Elazar ben Pera wanted. Because Yehuda ben Gdidia was a little bit direct with Yannai Melech. What happened next? The Chachmei Israel, they left the place. Zam is the king's anger. The king was angry with them, was angry at them, and therefore they kicked them out. Okay, so they left the party, they left the event. But Yomer, now Elazar ben Poera, that Meritznik, it's not enough for him. Dem Elazar ben Poera Yannai Melech. Yannai Melech. Excuse me, what did they say to you? If a regular person in Israel is told you're not kosher enough, you're not good enough, okay, that makes sense. People may say this to him. That's a din. But you are melech and a kohen gadol. Is this the way to treat you? Is this the din? Is this right? Is this the correct judgment for all these people to start questioning your kashrus? And this is okay with you? Dr. Yannai Melech, Yannai Melech seems to be very dependent on this Elazar all the time. What shall I do? And says Elazar ben Poera, kill them all. If you listen to my advice, you should stamp over them, stampede. Roimsem means really kill them, hargem. I want you to kill all the chachomim. You see, today is not as bad. They don't kill the chachomim. Yeah? Okay, they just disturb in many other ways. Yeah, so kill all the chachomim. Fragt Yannai Melech. Yannai Melech was not as bad. The Torah Mate'aleh. What's going to be with the Torah? If I kill all the chachomim, who's going to teach us Torah? Answers Elazar. The Torah is there. The Torah is the Sefer Torah. The Sefer Torah is sitting in the corner. Whoever wants can learn Torah. I'm not against Torah. That's what they all say. I'm not against Judaism. I like Judaism. I respect religious people, of course. Elamai, all the Chachamim should leave yeshivas, close the yeshivas, and everyone can learn the Torah his own way. And I interpret Genesis, of course, I interpret Genesis as being, I don't know, some psychological problems. Nothing is new under the sun. The Gemara points out what I just told you. Omar of Nachman bar Yitzchak miyad nizreka bo apukolsus. Yannai Melech up until now was somewhat a good boy. Now Yannai Melech, when he listened to the advice of killing the Chachomim, and he agreed to that krum hashkofa of anybody can learn the Torah the way they want, that's like being napikoires. Why? Yannai Melech should have answered him, Tenech Torah shebichtav, Torah sheba'al peh mai. Torah shebachtav, of course you can learn from a Sefer Torah by yourself, you don't need help. What about Torah sheba'al peh? How do you interpret the Torah? We don't have chachamim, you don't know how to learn the Torah properly ba'al peh. Miyad v'tutza sarah l'idei Elazar ben Poera. Right away there was like sparks. The bad event started sparking like nitzotz b'Elazar ben Poera. V'yagu kol chachmei Yisrael. Wow. And Yannai Melech killed all of chachmei Yisrael. And the world was really mishtoimem. The world was deserted spiritually. Until Shimon ben Shattach came, and he was hidden by his sister, because the queen was a tzaddikus. I guess she couldn't fight her husband, but she was good, and she hid her brother, the Talmid Chacham Shimon ben Shattach. Eventually, got out of his hiding place, and he reestablished the Torah of Shimon ben Shattach. What does that have to do with the story of Abaye? We're going to see it tomorrow. And also, I want to share with you Maharsha, maybe tomorrow. The Maharsha says there are 3 physical crowns. The tzitz is the Keser Kehuna, a crown is Keser Malchus, and tefillin is Keser Torah. So when he wore the 2 crowns, and that's what Elazar ben Poera, the nasty guy, knew. When he was wearing the 2 crowns, it says there's only room for 2 tefillin on one head, or tzitz and 1 pair of tefillin. But if you wear the crown and the tzitz, you have to remove your tefillin. And then they said, you're not a ben Torah. We see you're taking off your tefillin? That's terrible. Yeah, you're so lustful to have Torah and Kehuna and Malchus. They take your head, yeah. Now where's the tefillin? He goes the whole thing. Very nice. Atzlocha bracha. May we all see atzlocha in limud. Mashiach should come soon, and our soldiers should come back soon.